Inflation affects all aspects of the economy, from consumer spending, investments, employment rates, all the way to government programs and tax policies. Colin Evans from Evans Financial Group is here to give us the 411 on understanding inflation. So Colin, tell us in simple terms, what is inflation?
All right, navigating inflation. You know, it's a lot of times, inflation can kind of be a good thing, because at that time is when we realize that that is a positive for the economy, because a lot of times income levels are going up. However, what we kind of saw starting in March of 2022 of last year was when we really saw this thing skyrocket. Unfortunately, that hurts the pocketbooks. And when it hurts the pocketbooks is because a lot of people's incomes are staying, level. They're staying at a flat line. Now things are getting a little bit more expensive for us to go. We all saw that. Big one is at the grocery store. That $100 that we used to buy to fill up the cart now we can walk out with two sacks of groceries. Going,
right.
Holy mackerel! What happened just right here? And a lot of times that goes into, it's like more people might have the money to spend, but the actual goods that are available might not be readily available. That really hits home with people that are sitting on fixed incomes, and we're sitting on fixed incomes of, might be collecting Social Security or into retirement time. That really hits hard, because now, as I'm living on a fixed income, when we see this, well, Social Security popped in towards the end of this, earlier this year, with a little bit of a inflation boost to help offset that. As we see that, we have the additional goods as we're coming in, but as our income levels are starting to stay the same, this is when it gets to be damaging, and we see that increased cost of even making things.
Well, Colin, what are some of the main causes of inflation?
One of the big ones is it goes into almost a supply and demand curve of, hey, where the supply is down, but the demand is high. And so that can also, increase our prices. We see that at Christmas time when, a certain toy might get limited or something like that. And then you catch it on eBay for almost 2 times the price. That's a little bit factoring into that. Now, as some of the things we look at in combating, when we visit with clientele that we see, people that might be sitting, and it blows me away when there's $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 sitting in a savings account. Well, a savings account might be under 1%. They go, why are you doing that? We could actually just move it over to the bank CD that might be at 4, 5, or 6%. That's making your dollars a little bit more efficient for you when you're in the retirement phase. So that can really help you offset that.
Well, Colin, how can we combat this? Like, how can it be controlled, is what I should ask.
You can't really control it. That's something when we saw, especially, there was a lot of people that lucked out earlier actually right at the cusp of COVID, when our mortgage rates were under 3%. Well, we had a piece that we released earlier this year, and this $600,000 home at a 3% mortgage rate almost equates to, now, if we are at a 7% mortgage rate, almost half the price of the house, just over $300,000. The note stays the same. It's
disgusting.
Like you can't get that same house anymore. And
no, you can't.
That's a damaging deal for people's pocketbooks.
So you talked about that there's a positivity when it comes to inflation. What would be that positive?
It typically is a sign for a positive in the economy, and that's showing a actual growth and a stimulation of that. And that's when, the cost of goods is going up. We're looking at cost of wages going up, but that kind of becomes its own catch-22. When you see one of the biggest ones is like when you see, hey, we need to move minimum wage up to $15 an hour, because that's going to help people in their livelihood and living. Going, wait a second. Now the $15 an hour, the cost of the goods at the store costs us more, or the fast food costs us more. And that's really throwing the offset in there, and it almost makes that a wash.
And Colin, you actually have some help for everybody else out there that is watching. What do you have for us?
We did. We just dropped our inflation navigation report, and it's actually at inflationnavigation.com. And this actually simplistically breaks it down for the viewers. They can download this right onto their smartphone or their tablet, or
right on your screen right there. It's up on your screen.
Inflationnavigation.com. And this will really simply break it down and help people understand that, and some things, and give them some tips and ideas that they can help combat that, especially when they move into fixed income and into that retirement time.
Wonderful. And it's free.
It is. It's absolutely free.
And that website one more time.
Inflationnavigation.com.
And it's on your website. Well, thank you so much, Colin, for being here today and for talking to us about this hot topic. As we know, many people are still dealing with it. Most of us, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here. Absolutely.